I caught my wife telling her mom I'd be the ideal ex-husband because I'm too soft to contest anything in court. That same weekend, I discreetly contacted a lawyer and filed for divorce first. She was handed the papers during a family dinner, right in front of everyone she loved. She hasn't stopped crying since. I'm not one to spill personal drama online, but this has been eating at me. If I don't get it out, I'll wear a trench in my floorboards from pacing. I'm 38, work in logistics, mostly contracts and fleet management, nothing glamorous. I like crisp shirts, calm mornings, and my coffee plain. Been married to Sarah, 36, for 6 years. She's a high school English teacher nearby. We met through mutual friends, bonded over a mutual love for 80s films and slow Sundays. I thought we had something real, solid, not flashy. Turns out, I was the only one being honest. Last Saturday, I was under the house in the crawl space, fixing a clogged drain line. Not a fun way to spend a weekend, but I handle my own repairs. There's an old vent that runs up to the spare bedroom closet. Usually it's silent, but voices from that room carry down like a megaphone. Sarah was up there with her mother, and their words hit me like a brick. Sarah's tone shifted. Gone was the sugary politeness she used in public. It was sharp, like she was chatting over a drink. They didn't know I was down there, tools clinking, headlamp glowing. What I heard froze me in place. "I told you, Mom, he won't push back on anything. He's too kind," Sarah said with a chuckle. "I could take everything, and he'd probably say sorry for the inconvenience." Her mom laughed. "He's the perfect ex-husband, the type who will sign whatever you give him just to avoid a fuss." Then Sarah said something that flipped a switch in my head. "I've looked into it. If I file first, I can probably keep the house and get alimony. He earns plenty." I stayed still, hands on the pipe, listening as my wife and her mother mapped out how to unravel my life, like it was just another errand. They didn't mention an affair, not outright, but Sarah said something about not wasting her prime years managing a guy with no drive. I waited another 15 minutes, letting them wrap up. The anger settled into something sharper, colder. That night, she handed me a beer and pecked my cheek like nothing was wrong. She curled up on the couch, scrolling her phone, smiling at something I didn't know. I sat next to her, nodded at the TV, and mentally booked a lawyer for Monday. I wasn't going to shout or plead. I was going to act first. By Monday, I had an appointment with a local attorney, Kessler. No flashy ads, just a tidy office, and a no-nonsense vibe, like a retired soldier. I brought notes, yes, notes, and didn't flinch. "File first, you set the pace," he said, scanning my financial records. "She's counting on you folding. That's your advantage." From then on, I stopped reacting and started planning. I didn't leave the house, didn't pick fights. I became a ghost. Went to work, came home, washed dishes, cleared the gutters. Routine was my armor. While Sarah sat on the deck, sipping wine and texting, I was in the spare room, tracking every cent she pulled from our shared account. I noticed her send $500 to her sister via PayPal, labeled Weekend Getaway. She hadn't mentioned any trip to me. I made copies of everything. Bank statements, receipts, her recent online shopping for luggage and a tablet. She didn't bother covering her tracks, assuming I'd never check. That was her first misstep. Kessler linked me with a discreet forensic accountant. I handed over all the evidence. Turns out Sarah had been funneling small sums into an old account under her maiden name, one she never mentioned during our financial talks. Careless, obvious. We had a joint credit card. I froze it, opened a new one in my name, and shifted all auto payments. I didn't say a word. The next time she tried to buy a $200 scarf online, it didn't go through. She stared at her phone, confused. "Something wrong with the card?" she asked over dinner. I shrugged. "Probably a glitch. I'll check it out." That night, she texted her mom, leaving her phone open while she showered. "He's oblivious. Probably forgot to pay it again. Can't wait to be free." I snapped a photo of that text, too. Then I went through the house, listing everything I owned before we married. Tools, furniture, the old SUV title. Kessler said it'd matter in our equitable distribution state. She thought she'd walk away with the house, not knowing I'd bought it years before we met, with the deed to prove it. I also started recording any arguments she sparked just for protection. Nothing shady, just timestamps and context, in case she tried to spin things later. The best part? She got cocky, that quiet arrogance of someone who thinks they've already won. It showed in her smirk, her humming, her phone glued to her hand. She had no idea what was coming. I wasn't preparing a defense, I was laying a trap. I filed at 3:45 p.m. on a Friday, clean and quiet, just how I wanted it. No yelling, no tears, no warnings. Kessler pushed the papers through the courthouse, walking me through the plan like a strategist before a chess move. We'd serve her on Sunday, family dinner Sunday, with her mom, sister, and brother-in-law around the oak table she loved. She wanted the house? Let her get served in it. Saturday passed like any other day. She went to spin class, met her sister for lunch, came home tipsy, talking about sorting the garage soon, deciding what to keep. I nodded, said, "Sure, whenever you're ready." She thought she was boxing up my future, assuming I'd crumble. I went to bed early, barely slept. Sunday morning, I cleaned, cooked, kept things normal. She noticed. "You're chipper today," she said, pouring her second mimosa by noon. "Just pitching in," I replied. By 4, the house smelled of pot roast and thyme. She had music playing, a new candle glowing by the door. She looked like she stepped out of a lifestyle blog. Her family arrived at 5, all together, as usual. I poured drinks, shook hands, played the part. We got through appetizers and half the main course when the knock came. Sarah frowned. "You expecting something?" I shook my head. "Maybe a neighbor." I stayed put, chewing slowly. She sighed, got up, wine glass in hand, and padded to the door. From the dining room, we heard the exchange. "Sarah Thompson?" Yes?" "You've been served. Have a good evening." A pause. Then the sound of paper tearing open, followed by her glass hitting the floor. She walked back, clutching the envelope like it might burn her. Her hands trembled. Her eyes darted over the first page, like she could will the words away. Her mom looked up. "What's wrong?" Sarah tried to speak, but nothing came out. I set my fork down. "I filed," I said calmly. "Friday afternoon. I'm seeking full ownership of the house, asset division based on contributions, and I've frozen all joint accounts. I'll move out once we have a temporary order. My lawyer's info is in there." Her brother-in-law stared at his plate. Her mom's mouth hung open. "You? You can't just—" I stood. "Dinner was great. Enjoy the rest." And I walked out. I didn't go far. Drove to the park nearby, sat in my SUV. Watched the sunset as the engine cooled. I had a bag packed, clothes, charger, documents, enough for a few days. I didn't want to be there when Sarah realized this wasn't a bluff. It was done. My phone started buzzing 30 minutes later. Sarah, then her mom, then Sarah again. No voicemails, just relentless calls. I didn't answer. I crashed at a friend's place that night. He offered a beer, no questions asked. Monday, I met Kessler to finalize asset disclosures, handing over every receipt, screenshot, and transaction. By Wednesday, Sarah's lawyer, a frazzled local she probably found online, sent her counteroffer. Kessler scanned it, unfazed. "They think you're posturing," he said, sliding it over. "They want half the house's value and temporary support. No mention of her hidden account or her income." I looked at the papers, then at him. Good. Let's drown them in evidence. Sarah texted again that night. "Can we talk? I didn't mean it like that. You didn't give me a chance. I left it on red." Her sister messaged too, a long spiel about divorce bringing out the worst and how we both might have overreacted. They were probing, looking for cracks. There were none. The best part? Sarah still didn't see how badly she'd misjudged. She thought the house was automatically split as community property, not knowing it was mine before we met. She thought alimony was a given, unaware I had proof of her secret account and early withdrawals. I also had recordings, not dramatic, just her cool, calculated words. "He won't fight. He's not built for it." I had all the fight she didn't expect, kept quiet until it mattered. Her lawyer dropped the alimony claim after Kessler sent the hidden account details. They pushed for the house. Kessler countered with the deed and maintenance records. By week 2, Sarah stopped fighting and started pleading. "I wish you'd talk to me first," she said in a voicemail. She wanted a discussion after scheming behind my back, laughing with her mom, but that window had closed. I'd said everything through legal filings. By week 3, her calls tapered off. Her lawyer sent a new proposal. No house claim, no support, just a split of shared savings. Kessler looked at me. "She's caving. Negotiate or go for the full ruling." "End it clean," I said. "No mess, just closure." We signed and filed. She kept her car, personal savings, and some furniture. I kept the house, my tools, and everything I owned pre-marriage. It was over. The night it was finalized, I cooked dinner alone. Not the heavy kind of silence, the kind that feels like freedom. I sat in my chair, slept in my bed, no phone buzzing beside me. Sarah never moved back in, never asked to. A month later, I saw her sister at the hardware store. She looked uneasy but tried to be friendly. "Sarah's struggling," she said, eyeing me. I nodded. "She said you changed." I looked at her, calm. "No, she just saw the side of me she ignored." Sarah texts every few weeks now, always late, always emotional. "I don't know who I am without you. I messed up. You didn't let us try. I haven't responded, not once." She cried when she got served. Her mom tried to smooth things over. They thought I'd buckle under pressure, betting on me being too soft to fight. But I'm not the guy who can't fight. I'm the guy who waits, watches, and strikes when it counts. Edit, since people ask. Yes, the house was mine before marriage. She never paid toward the mortgage. That held up in court. No, she didn't cheat. Not that I could prove. The betrayal wasn't physical, it was calculated, and that cuts deeper. No, I don't feel bad. I gave her 6 years of loyalty, support, and truth. She gave me a blueprint to leave when it suited her. Yes, I'm dating someone new. Quietly. She doesn't know about this, and she doesn't need to. Final thought. Strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it listens, waits, and walks away when the moment's right. Thank you for watching Story. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more real-life stories.